Alright, so here's what happened in challenge mode. Almost right at the beginning, you get a new tool, a pair of shades, but these are not just any shades.
There's spy shades. Oh, it's like in Swan Princess 7.
Thermoptic sunglasses, there you go.
Oh, okay.
Basically, with these equipped, go throughout the levels and look around until you actually spot some bizarre signals. Collect all of them, and you are granted access to the treehouse.
Are these relatively easy to find, or do we get any super cryptic ones?
No, not really. Anyway, legends speak of a secret world beyond the limit of a known galaxy known as the treehouse. Look for more clues to reveal the secrets of a place and its inhabitants.
Legends, you say? Well, it's not that hard to get to, actually. Me and Ratchet were just there in the last game.
For the sake of convenience, I'll just show basically all of them since we have funny text around them.
That's neat.
It is said that Ron once jumped a flaming skateboard over 3 parked cars and landed on his off-road mountain bike going downhill at 60 miles per hour. In the middle of the jump, he did a wicked air drum solo and put out the flames with the force of his rock presence. Basically, these are just the devs having probably inside jokes with each other. So,
I'm guessing these legendary names are basically
devs,
pastiches of the devs.
yeah, basically. Though he arrived at the high-impact gamehouse mustache competition with no facial hair in sight, Ben actually grew the fabled Phoenix mustache, quote-unquote. Each morning, a perfectly styled handlebar stash burst into flame on his upper lip, only to regrow each evening in prize-winning form. Truly the new Prometheus.
I wonder if they wrote some of these while drunk.
Again, it's definitely a bunch of inside jokes that they had during development. And yeah, the system tells you if you collected all of them on a word. You even get to see that on the selection screen. Next up, don't think that when Jahiro says he needs recharging, quote-unquote, when he's headed home for some sleep. He actually acquires none of those little slices of death. Instead, he sneaks from rooftop to rooftop, drinking water out of gutters in his unending search for the perfect roof hooch.
That cannot be hygienic.
The what?
Dare
I ask?
It's not illuminating, Clank.
Or maybe he's a robot, and like in Futurama, that sort of stuff is good for robots.
Recently driven mad by people who work around him, Gilbert's revenge plot is much more subtle than your ordinary villain scheme might be. His plan, to place a bomb under each person's T key, which will explode after the 11th click. Not a very evil plan, if you ask me. Almost
Okay, that one's actually pretty clever. You know, credit to High Impact Games. They did still at least keep, the ideas with the satire intact.
I mean, have an edge of is there... Well, actually, but is there a future game that turns out... Oh,
Ricardo,
it turns out that Clank's part human or something.
Tends to trick people into thinking he is part-time photographer by carrying around a camera everywhere he goes. However, his camera actually takes pictures backwards. All the photos are of himself in the act of taking photos of himself.
Imagine taking pictures of yourself. What will we ever call this self-picturization?
To answer your question, Babes, no. In the beginning, there was nothing. Then the drone floated over the nothing and said, "Hey, this place is boring. I'll write my own real-time ray tracer." And there was light. The light reflected off of surfaces and refracted through objects. The light cast soft shadows, and the light even ran at 100 FPS.
Which immediately made him sick looking at something in that vision. Okay, I kid.
That's bollocks. Not being sick during that.
Okay, I kid. Gaming PCs can go up to like 120 FPS, so you wouldn't automatically be sick, but Huh,
Technically more.
given
If you have a monitor with
651.
refresh rate of even more, you can even go even higher
Years
than
ago,
that.
a very
So,
powerful Robomonk who was finally able to destroy the Uber Jason. However, he was only split into 3 lesser Jasons, the Dancer, the Renter, and the Crasher. Since that day, they have spent their time roaming the land in search of each other. Fate has led them to the confines of a treehouse, and it is only a matter of time before the Apocalypse is among us.
you know,
Hey,
ignoring how that precedes the Among Us thing, how funny would it be if there were actually triplets among the
if anything,
devs?
the plot is more similar to the one of Kingdom Hearts when you get down to it.
Oh god.
Imported from a magical land beyond the eastern hills of the western coast, Travis is a programmer who traveled far and wide searching for the perfect place to work. After finding the treehouse, he echoed the hollow words, good enough, and settled into stay. Now all that remains is to find chili good enough to satisfy his eastern west coast appetite.
Of course.
At first, when it comes to the shades, I was totally expecting them to do the same joke that Swan Princess 7 does, where they put, see, because we're spies, we're supposed to wear sunglasses.
Contrary to popular belief, Leviticus accounts for less than 3% of all online shopping traffic related to vinyl figurines. He says he's not that guy, quote unquote. However, not a single handbag is bought or sold over the internet without him knowing about it. Good to know. Leviticus stole your location data. Use a VPN, kids. When Kronos ate his children to prevent them from rising up against him, play God of War 2, Karl escaped by disguising himself as a salt shaker. In the Greek pantheon, he is the deity of etiquette in online gaming. It's said that he punishes bad PUGs with high latency times.
Will somebody get him on the likes of Overwatch, Destiny 2, Fortnite,
I was about to say,
and
hadn't done a
Rivals?
good job in recent times, I say. Well, to be fair, ever since the mid-2000s, just ask any COD player.
Yeah, what happened there, God? You taking a 30-year break?
Jess never takes candy from babies. He finds it far more satisfying to ruin the child's capacity for sweetness and food-related joy. In the end, the baby gives the candy all away on its own free will, which is fine by me, as
I guess
Shadow
that
says.
Well,
Yeah,
I guess
no
that means
guilt.
the baby will grow up to be healthier. So is it really evil?
From a certain point of view.
No, not really. It's not like you took it from the child. The child gave it to you.
To take a picture, equip the holomonocle and press the select button.
Collins made a career out of crafting amazing characters and then being told time and time again to reduce their poly counts. He doesn't mind. He's come to appreciate the spare beauty of the absent polygon. So much so that he has begun to make plans for his co-workers. Plans involving a belt sander.
Nobody tell him about
What?
Knack. He's going to reduce them down to size.
You can hear it, you can see it behind closed doors, but it can hear you. In fact, it will choose what you sound like. Your footsteps, your voice, your panic ambient breathing effect. Do not cross it. Instead, just leave your offering by the altar outside. Your offering of silence, it listens.
You know, I'm beginning to wonder if maybe this game was developed by Arkham Asylum, going off of these dev profiles.
Amadeus Arkham, yeah. On this afternoon in Treehouse, you may feel the walls reverberate with the smashes of battle. This is a sure sign that Craig, Justin, Dizop, and Eric have reignited their eternal war. Rumbling, shaking, terrifying in intensity, the constant exchange of wills and egos transferred from mind to arm, to paddle, to ball, to table, to opponent, and hopefully beyond to score.
Good old table tennis. But yeah, no, like, not just Amadeus Arkham, his spirit and all the inhabitants of Arkham Asylum.
Codes collected on this stage.
Oh, that's nice to know.
Again, the game just basically tells you in case you need to really know, but you can check that through the mobile selection. Though his neoprene sheath gives him the appearance of a normal man, Gerard is actually a self-contained MMO projected into a robotic shell. Each word and movement is the work of at least 100 players grinding their way to max level. This is the nice side effect of him doing anything for epic loots. So Gerard is Guild Wars 2? I don't know. I think this one might be the only one dickish because it's under one of the platforms, but again, you can still spot it because it glows. Alex used to be named Matt. Ever since he lost his name and his sense of smell in an epic duel, he has wandered the earth, righting wrongs and introducing the third word to the healing power of rock and roll. His ex, which never leaves his side, is called Freya, Muse of the Apocalypse. To be fair, this was released roughly alongside the release of Brutal Legend, so... In 1985, Harun was challenged to a breakdancing competition by the devil, wagering his soul against a spool of golden thread. When his sick moves banished the demon to the underworld, Harun wove the thread into his headphones, and from then on he could only create beautiful music. He also can no longer hear it when designers talk. How sad.
Don't you just hate it when there's a piece of beautiful music and someone's talking all over it?
Unlike most gamers, Avery actually hates old video games. This is because he's actually an 8-bit sprite that entered the real world to escape an evil wizard. So far, no one suspects his true nature, but he still practices his double jump every day to avoid the dreaded triple flame attack.
Arthur?
I mean, I guess. I wouldn't simplify Astaroth as just an evil wizard. So
Well, to be fair, there are wizards that are like enemy mooks throughout
Leslie
Ghosts and Goblins.
is actually third in a series of identical clones. She's gotten where she is today by bending the wheels of clones 4 through 8 and making them do her bidding. Clone 2 died under mysterious circumstances after disobeying one of her direct commands. Some say that Leslie Prime is still out there though. The Clone Saga. No, please. None of this is illuminating, Clank.
You know, how sad is it that nowadays we have to differentiate between not one, not two, but 3 different clone sagas in comics?
Dave is actually a highly adaptive design robot capable of generating 12,000 platformer maps per second. The rest of his time is spent hunting for uranium coolant rods to fuel his buck-writing Giga Laser.
You know, there are a lot of robots with the codename Dave in media.
This stage.
You've
I
got
think my
Dave
favorite one is
TV
the
channel
one
around here.
I think my favorite one is the one from the Batman.
Because of a mystical curse placed on him by a traveling crone, Matt's coding power is inversely proportional to the number of other people named Matt who are standing in the room at any one time. Any other Matt that enters the treehouse is challenged to a ceremonial battle for their name. If they lose, from then on, they are called Alex. Okay. How specific? Ken believes it's his destiny to fight invisible ninjas that he alone can perceive. This would be far less disturbing if he didn't also have a penchant for eating invisible stew immediately after his battles.
Well, that's
The guy gets
just Ken
hungry.
of him.
And the guy gets hungry whenever he fights a battle with nothing.
Okay. Next.
Jared got into IT by way of international rock stardom in the 80s. Buried deep in the server room are the remnants of a former life. Glitter, giant hair wigs, and enough styling gel to choke a horse.
Oh, what do you come from? A hair metal band?
Alien codes collected on this stage.
So I'm guessing any logs you find are stored on like a pause menu that you can look them up again.
Actually, no. You can look them up again. They don't disappear. Dame Vessup has always warned that his incredible nunchuck skills will never be used on another human being. Last month, he said that Ron was exempt from that mantra. Not because of Ron's constant harassment, or his sneers, or his array of diabolical traps. It's because Ron's t-shirts are better than his. How petty.
Illuminating.
Adam is actually an undercover investigator assigned to the treehouse to uncover evidence of a global muffin smuggling ring. After a year in the field, though, he's gone too deep. His cover has become his life. He barely remembers the before time when he didn't create memorable virtual vistas. But his hand trembles whenever it picks up a muffin. Can you imagine, actually, someone in a company stealing food related to the employees? That would be absurd.
Nah.
This
Come
world
on.
sucks.
Will this one be even more insane?
Jeff's garden gnome collection started out innocently enough. No one said anything when he glued them onto the floor around his cube, or when he gave them names like Bubbles, or the Gilded Emancipator, or when we found gnomes in our own cubes. But now, Jeff has begun dressing just like them, and this morning, pointy hats appeared on all of our desks.
Oh dear, well,
So
maybe
he's from
they
that
all...
side quest in Fable 2.
You've captured all
And there you go. Now basically when you collected all of them, your assistant tells you immediately, and you can access the treehouse from the level select menu.
Dare I wonder if we'll find all the dead bodies of whomever
No,
Jeff dealt with afterwards?
surprisingly, no.
But yeah, no, my question was more so,
Anyway,
is there like a
hold
point...
on. Different outfits for Clank, the cowboy, that you saw in the cutscene.
Uh-huh.
You can dress as Clank, you even get a skill point by fighting him with this. A 70s costume with an afro, my god. A Bobby, I don't want to hear David K with a British accent. And a blender, because someone was a fan of Mystery Science Theater 3000, clearly.
Dandy.
Anyway, few other cutscenes to showcase the missing weapons that Ratch can still get. Specifically,
Cool.
if I recall correctly, both of these are returning from Size Matters. Yeah, the rocket launcher, I forgot what it's called. And of course, we cannot forget this.
You like pound cake?
Oh yeah.
About 30 pounds.
The Rhino, of course.
The Rhino.
Although it functions identical to Size Matters, so I will not show that. I will show instead the costume that Ratchet can get. For example, the towel outfit, yeah, from the bathroom. The trash can that we saw in Size Matters, they finally made that. Returning is from Size Matters the beach attire, the pirate captain in Ratchetzilla, which if I recall correctly you can unlock immediately if you have a save file of Size Matters, so you don't need the titanium bolts from them. And of course also Robo Ratchet, because why not? We have the model, might as well use it. And the Bruce Lee Kung Fu costume.
The
Also,
coloring
the
of those
zombie one.
pants. They
And
chose
of
quite
course,
the...
then
Just Stan.
Dan the man.
Quark also has a couple of different costumes. A cowboy, a maid, oh god, and a lucha libre outfit. It's nice that they actually had, different ones even for minor things like this. Anyway, as you can see, we can just access the high treehouse from just the menu. So let's get on to it.
Hey there, welcome to the High Impact Games Treehouse. This is a secret level where we get to put fun things that don't otherwise fit into the game. Enjoy!
Anyway, unlike Size Matters, some of the stuff that you find are actually voiced logs, similar to the first Insomniac Museum. Not all of them are, but it's nice that they actually bother to insert a couple of audio, bits for, Also, there's this weird game about robots finds kitten, they call it. There are a bunch of present chests, and Clank needs to attack them until he finds the kitten. I don't know what's the significance of that, because you don't really get a reward for that. It's just a thing that happens. I don't even think it's even randomized, as in the kitten is in a specific box, depending on the run you have. Bees, my god.
I'm Matt Gilgenbach, lead gameplay programmer at High Impact Games. I hope you're enjoying the game. I thought you would enjoy it more if we gave Clank a wisecracking mustache named Rutherford for a sidekick, but my idea was shot down in pre-production.
I get the feeling this guy is not exactly the most extroverted of a person. Like,
again, these are just the developers. They're not actors at all.
Yeah, to their credit, they're just recording simple voice stuff. It's not like they're going for the voice acting gold.
Again, some of these tend to have a bit more of a jokey side, so there is that. I see if the kitten is here. No, it's a CD. There you go, more concept art for stuff like Glaciara. Yeah, the only major annoying thing is that every time you need to see one of these, you have to enter a loading screen, load the image, exit the loading screen, and return back to where you are. This one, I don't remember. Maybe it was a scrapped level. I don't think it's based on anything in particular that's actually in the game. And of course, Ben Antonio. Alright, see if Kitten's here. Nope, it's a butcher's knife. The force rocket. There you go, where they create bolts.
Hi, I'm Jared Green, a gameplay programmer. How about a nice game of Robot Finds Kitten? All you have to do is hit presents like this one.
Dare I ask if this was a game they played back in the day in the office?
No idea. Spring instead. The spaceship graveyard entangled by a giant kudzu.
Inspiration for effects can come from anywhere. What makes a walloper or the lightning gun? Obviously our desk lamps.
Of course. Nope, this is not hidden either. It's like a door handle, I think. There you go, a concept art that showcased Ratchet actually going through the overbike, so maybe that's something that they were planning instead.
Possible.
Of all designers that make the layout of levels, the look and colors of the levels are decided by art. Concept art plays a huge role in helping to visualize these decisions. Check out the various pictures hanging around the treehouse. For example, the last level. I do wonder, considering how the last level was actually handled, if there was a potential, another reboot sequence where Clank was supposed to go stealthily through some stuff. It's just speculation.
Possible.
Sai, 2 games running and this poor guy never made it in. The Bolt Boss, as we call him, is a creature made entirely from the currency of the Regiment Clank universe. There were a ton of cool things we were going to do for him, but he never ever got finished. Jump into his pit to check out what it looked like.
Ooh, a monster made of currency.
Also, interesting equation. Gobble, gobble. Okay. Illuminati. Dope fish, potentially? I don't know.
Gobble, 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 gobble.
There you go. There's Kitten.
Alright, now what do we do with the kitten?
No idea.
We found it. Woohoo.
Alright, hear this out.
When it was time for my hero parade,
Oh, great, again, this again.
nasty brute, wearing a suit, who was representing those I'd slain, served a civil suit to me. He said I have to pay attorney's fees for all their families. Having no recourse but to rectify the legal case and save some face, I decided there was just one way I could save myself some grief. As I pretended to sign up a check, I snapped his scrawny neck.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Again, I wonder why we actually didn't have that. It would have been hilarious to have a QT or just do it. We love Quark's opera. Here are some outtakes of the high-input crew trying and failing to sing some of it. Please enjoy.
I wonder if...
It was done, the town was not too thrilled with the big mess and my giant bill. They said I should stay and mop the floor, but I told them my contract's due.
Yeah, I think this initial sequence was an alternate take from the very beginning. But again, now I'm probably gonna hear the developer singing. Please enjoy.
This I gotta hear.
Some aliens attack little green guys, filling the skies.
Bit of a pet peeve, but it's a bit of a clutter noise with the music from the hub playing
Agreed.
over them.
Like, it's not too much audible that much, but it's just enough to feel distracting.
Like, most games usually, stop the outer music to let you listen to the music or lyrics in a case like this.
Actually, it was quite a mess. Innards everywhere you looked. I guess in retrospect, I probably...
Bless him, but singing's not...
Yeah, Travis clearly did not went through. Let's see someone else, please.
Travis, you were fine. Next!
When it was time for my hero
I think I said 5 for a second there.
Oh, Ron, you have spirit. Yes, you have spirit.
It's like that line in High School Musical. I admire your pluck. As for your singing, that's a wonderful tie you're wearing. Next!
Simon Cowell would have a field day with this.
Remind me, Glebs, who was the guy from Rare that sang The Great Mighty Pooh?
I don't know. Let me see. Great Mighty...
I know it's a Rare employee. He was an actual employee at Rare. They didn't get an actual opera singer.
Alright,
Chris
Okay,
Marlowe.
Matt.
let's see if
That's
Matt
it, thank
can
you.
do it.
Marvin the Martian singing voice. That's creative.
Pretty sure the Duck Dodgers modern series did have a bunch of musicals in it.
Oh god, the Duck Dodgers series did a little bit of everything. It was great. As for why they cut out the line about Quark snapping the lawyer's neck, I'm guessing they wanted to try and show us that Quark is getting better as opposed to having him revert to
That's the
outright
thing.
villainous
I'm sorry to
behavior.
say, he's not. Sure, he's not actively trying to murder our protagonist, but he's still an asshole.
Oh yeah, but I guess they didn't want to go.
Alright, let's see in the meantime how Ken performs, but the entire point of Full Frontal Assault / Q-Force is for someone to actually call him out on that, basically.
I'm strictly trying to go off of what High Impact Games went like. I don't know if maybe there was like a lore doctor or like a Bible keeper who said, no, we can't make Quark that monstrous or something, because that's the only reason I can surmise why they would leave out that line. And I guess also it would be about well, hold on, Quark's kind of just as much the villain in this case, maybe we should arrest him if he literally did murder. I mean, not to excuse him for trying to murder Ratchet and Clank in the second game.
It's still supposed to be a fantasy sequence in which he pretends to have saved Antonio when he didn't, so it's not even made up.
That would beg the question.
How about
then.
Jahiro? I mean, this one's a bit better, I guess.
I can't tell if the accent is improvised or if that's his natural accent.
No clue.
But anyway, though, I guess in that case, the fact that Quark made those lyrics would beg the question: why would Quark implicate himself in those lyrics?
I think there's always been a degree of self-awareness for it, not for the game, but for Quark, where he knows that the stuff that he does might be, potentially persecutable by the law system. So, he basically just goes into accounting for that. I don't know.
That would make, if that's the case, dude needs some therapy. I mean, it's good he realizes, but holy cow.
Oh god, Gerardi's not even trying.
Like, was the challenge to try and do the song while listening to the hub music? Holy cow.
Pretty sure every one of the devs are just having fun there. And honestly, this is something that, not even Insomniac did. Just have its devs doing stupid shit on the mic. That's actually...
Oh, yeah.
To quote South Park, stunning and brave.
Honestly, yeah, I can appreciate that they had fun with this one. Even if I don't care for the game altogether, I can definitely tell that it came from a labor of love. Huh. Avery might be the closest. I still wonder, though, whose idea was it to have the hub music constantly playing over, well, another song track?
Whoever was responsible for the audio mixing, so any one of these, I don't know which one of these are responsible for that. I will have to check the credits to be sure about it, but, whoever it is, did that. Not necessarily the composing, as I've heard, I'm talking specifically the audio mixing.
Yeah, audio mixer. Yeah, that's the thing, like, there's a difference between being a composer and then the very specific job of being sound or audio mixer. Yeah, let's see.
Christ.
Oh, Alex, you are truly a brave soul.
Well, he's not on key, but he's in time.
Alright, for good measure, let's hear everyone instead.
Oh! If you value your eardrums, don't press. They actually don't sound too bad singing together in chorus.
Yeah, so this is actually one of the better. once.
Perhaps their combined tongue deafness cancel each other out.
Checking out the
Like
monocle
multiplying a
data
negative
on
by
some of the
negative.
characters can be tricky, especially with bosses. Here they are in a more docile form to fulfill your voyeuristic needs. Again, that's actually a nice touch, because the developers fully expect that throughout the whole chaos of the game you wouldn't be able to find data of them, but there's this. For example, the Robo Clank, Robo Ratchet, the Nefarious Suite.
Interesting now seeing
Clank
this and
himself.
realizing.
Somehow Clank has escaped his fate after his battle with Ratchet on Metropolis, but what sort of plan does he have in store? There you go, they just haphazardly lampshades that.
Somehow Clunk returned.
To be fair, he doesn't fly now.
It does kind of make me realize, though, there aren't too many bosses in this game. Not to say that a Ratchet and Clank ever was
It's
super full of bosses.
It's a bit of a mix. Again, when you get down to it, Clank himself doesn't, face a lot of bosses. It's mostly reserved to something else, mostly Quark, for example.
Yeah, because Clank manages to one-tap a lot of these people, including the first boss. But yeah, a boss made out of the very currency that we collect.
It was probably also another case to showcase, yeah, despite the PSP, we can have different particles on a big model and stuff,
It really feels like a prototype for Knack in a sense.
To be fair, I don't hear this game telling me that ice is nice.
Well, not to mention, like, the whole, being showcasing the capabilities of the console via particles. That's not a knack thing. That's just a game thing.
No. I'm talking strictly about a character who's made of little floating polygons like that, like particles and whatnot.
Well, remember, it can be traced to an extent back to the very origins of the PlayStation. The first very mascot created was supposed to be literally called Polygon Man, because it was just a bunch of polygons mashed together into a face.
And hey, they even brought him back for the PS5. But yeah, no, like typically when you think of like a big creature like that, you tend to think Knack in regards to PlayStation stuff. I mean, now, I'm not going out of my way to go and say, oh, secretly High Impact Games are the true fathers of Knack, but you get what I mean. It just feels like a neat little coincidence.
Alright, let's see what's next. Ratchet and Clank games always have skins that you can unlock with titanium bolts. These skins are generated first from concept arts, like any other character. And here are some of these sketches for stuff that got in the game and some not. For example, a tropical vacation for Clank and a disco one, a ninja,
And
a clown,
London
an
policeman.
astronaut. I don't even know what's the one on the left.
A
A rapper?
Here are
Look,
Quark's
one
outfits, like one in a banana suit.
It's
goes
peanut
like
butter jelly time, peanut butter
An
jelly
octopus
time.
and a devil costume, what the hell?
He got
And
lost
Satan.
on his way to the
Ratchet
F-Zero
was
race.
supposed to have the private eye detective one. Weird.
A trench coat, I guess, to maybe go undercover at some point.
Yeah, definitely still not Kitten. We already found it. Here you can also play a bunch of different Ratchet missions, similar to how the treehouse in the previous game had the Clank, the gadget bots mission. But again, I will not showcase that because it's just Ratchet's combat sections. It's nothing too new. The artists aren't the only people who conceptualize the ideas for illustration. Use a selection of program art for you to enjoy and mock, starting with examples for the programmer's gopher test to sketches for creatures and effects, and even see some of our whiteboard doodles. For example, gophers, as mentioned. I like the one on the right, with helmet. These ones are a bit more generic, and someone was too much of a fan of Tom and Jerry, clearly. Don't know, I think the one on the left is Mr. Potato. concept art of the crab from Size Matters and that weapon test. Teleport, Teleshroud, I don't know, I can't read this, it's too pixelated. Jim the Gem Monster.
Ah.
I bet he wishes
Clank free
this was
ball.
a claw. So weird.
It's okay. It's typical code writing where it will only make sense to the people in that specific process. I wouldn't be surprised if these guys have forgotten even what they meant now.
Recruits here at High Impact. Hope you enjoy some extra Ratchet arenas.
Again, I did
Cool.
just privately, it's nothing too special. There is one last thing to do if you have had a keen eye and noticed that there was something behind me as soon as I arrived here. Also this. In Ratchet & Clank Tools of the Structure, enter this code. Let Ratchet show the Cragmites that life on the inside hasn't changed him. Basically, if you use this code on Size Matters, you do get... on Tools of Destruction, you get the jail outfit for Ratchet, while in this, if you instead have put a code that it's unlocked in Tools of Destruction, you do get a Zony costume for Clank. Anyway, in order to get through this door, you need Doom keys. That's literally what they are. Red, yellow, and blue Doom keys. So where to find them? These are the cryptic shit, because they're not even told to you. You just need to hope to find them. For example, the red one, you need to take a leap of faith in Asianica. For the blue one, you need to play the level of the gadget bots where they're supposed to defeat the AI Al 9000 ripoff, and when you reach the second trolley, you need to go backward instead of forward. Thankfully, it's still visible enough for you to spot it.
Dare I ask if there's a way to get that first red key without dying, or you have to die
to be fair,
get it?
again, that is left on the wrist in these games, so it's nothing too much of a problem. You don't really
Yeah,
lose
but
that much progress.
I do kind of consider it a red flag, though, what the game intentionally
And
says.
for the yellow
you need to die.
one, this is the more cryptic argue. In the console level with Quark, you had to actually take a leap of faith and Quark will automatically jump towards the center while grabbing the yellow keycard. Again, I know, cryptic as fuck. I will say this, however, you don't really need this. It's literally just bragging rights, basically.
You actually found all the key cards?
Alright, so what do we get with these keys?
It's right at the end of this corridor. You
In
just need to
2008, good luck with that.
do a bit of platforming.
I think GameFAQs was a thing around 2008.
Yeah, but that's the thing though, the internet wasn't quite as fast and reliable as it is now.
I'm
It
curious,
was a-
Steel, did you look these up on the internet?
No, not really. I played both Size Matter and this way too much for my own good, so I eventually found them by accident. So there weren't even
All right.
particular guides on the PlayStation Magazine actually I was buying about these two games.
It always makes me wonder, the people who make the guides...
And there were
Sometimes-
these Chalice. I know what you're thinking. The
Okay.
Chalice of Power. This has jank to do with Ratchet & Clank. So what does it actually do? Well, I don't even bother to show it because you don't get to see it. Once per level, it resets every time you change level. If by inputting a specific code, which I don't even remember how you're supposed to learn that, it instantly refills your health. Again, once per level. It really is the definition of bragging rights.
Oh my.
Anyway, that's pretty much it. So again, I still appreciated that they bothered to include this extra stuff for this game. However, the spin-offs for the PSP are done, meaning that when we jump back to the franchise, it will be for the PS3 for the first title the Insomniac was doing for the console, Tools of Destruction, and a new beginning for our heroes, future and stuff. See ya.
See ya.
Yeah.
Yo.